Welcome in, Texrose.
Thank you.
Welcome in.
To say I'm nervous would be an understatement, but I'm going to trust the people I trust, and if everybody would be patient with me for a minute, I'd like to make a statement.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. I got caught up in a shitstorm trying to do the next right thing to further my activist work and have no regrets. But as you know, I'd do things differently in the future. To the best of my knowledge, I am up to date with the docs and facts regarding NNH. I have shared my most intimate moments at different times through this whole process with people who I trust. And to say this is overwhelming is an understatement. No matter what happens from this time forward, please know I speak the truth and am a woman of integrity and honor. I hope not to hurt anyone, but I need to do what I'm about to do for my survival. No one is going to take my power away, no matter what. Where do I stand right this moment? I am strong but weak. I'm relieved but sad. I am angry but in control of myself. I was a victim most of my life due to circumstances and later choices I made. I got help and the tools necessary to become a survivor, and nothing is going to change that. No person, no place, no thing. News Now Houston David committed a horrible crime over 30 years ago, a sexual assault, and pled guilty, convicted, and served his time. He is now, and for the rest of his life, going to have to register on the sex offenders registry. Do I like rapists who continue to do what they do? No. Do I support rapists who refuse or are unwilling to change? No. Have there been other convicts I was involved with during my lifetime? Yes. Do I think rapists deserve a second chance, especially 30 years later? Yes. Just like I got a second chance because poor choices, drugs, alcohol, emotional, domestic violence victim, I had to learn how to change and to dedicate my life to being the best woman I could, and I'm still working towards that. Never will there be perfection, but for me, just trying the best I can, doing the next right thing, staying open-minded, willing to learn, and continue to be educated has served me well. I am not perfect, never will be. I love everyone, but don't like everyone. I do believe David deserves a second chance in my mind, but there will be no more half-truths, perceived deception, total disclosure, facts, and honest or nothing at all. I believe he is innocent until proven guilty on the current charges. I will not talk about them as I'm a survivor, no longer a victim, and I will not discuss that or go there with anyone. Thank you.
Your last sentence, repeat, because it went out.
The last sentence. I believe he is innocent until proven guilty on the current charges. I will not talk about them as I am a survivor, no longer a victim, and I will not discuss that or go there with anyone regarding the current charges.
Thanks for your statement, Texrose. I'm going to open the floor up to anybody that has questions, I guess, if you're willing to answer questions.
I will to the best of my ability.
I have one question. The statement that you made in the video about the lawyer, is that fabrication?
That's absolute truth, and it was confirmed today. His lawyer is John Latham, and I can give you his phone number and address if you want it. That is his current lawyer.
Thank you.
Have you spoken to him after he was released yet?
Yes, I have.
And because I got off the phone with him about an hour or so ago, and his tone sounds like he's not concerned or anything. How did you take his tone, or do you think he's concerned about these charges?
I don't know him well enough to say if he's, because he's a different He has a different tone than he did before he was arrested, but it's not changed much since he's been arrested in the fact of it's almost cautiously optimistic. Is that a word? So I can't really characterize. No questions?
That's what I was thinking. I've heard lots of questions. I figured there would be plenty of people that had questions.
I have a question, but it's more for you. I heard that something may have happened during the arrest that resulted in a pending potential case. I'm not asking you to speak on that, but are we possibly going to see video of anything in the future here?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. Yes, the reason I haven't made any videos or put anything up because, as you've seen from my last few live streams, I got hit hard. But I will be following up with I'll be going to McAllen Police Department and filing a complaint. I'll also be putting in an open records request for any and all body cams, dash cams, and reports having to do with the incident that happened, because the phones were swatted out of my hand. That's the best way I can put it. There was no physical damage to my body, but the phones were thrown onto the ground 2 separate times. I was blackmailed, I was intimidated, and I was threatened and detained, and that is not acceptable. So I'll be following up. When I do go, I'm going to, of course, take video and post it.
Well, regardless of where anyone lies on News Now Houston, I know that we support you and anything that you're going through as far as civil litigations and government police misconduct.
And I thank you very much for the support. I've done a police complaint. That's how I first started my YouTube video. I've been an activist my whole life. But my first YouTube video, I was grabbed and I got introduced to how to file a police report and followed it through. I did not do civil litigation. I do not have the funding, nor are there lawyers knocking on my door stepping up. I don't know what will happen as far as civil litigation goes, but I know that the process of going through filing a complaint and requesting open records requests, I will be doing, and then depending on the outcome of that, other choices may be made on my behalf.
And I got 2 more questions, and I'm sorry that I haven't been keeping up track good enough, but have you done any public fundraising for News Now Houston on this incident?
I did have a video up, and I don't have the exact video, but it was done since the arrest. And I did post and ask for fundraising. It has since been removed. And short of taking the video down, that's all I can do.
That's both my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One question I do have, and I think I think I understand, and I'm going to make this assumption. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rose.
Yep.
The reason why the video got cut, because we saw the video that you posted today, was, I'm assuming, is because you tried to go live, and it's not because you didn't want anybody to see what happened. You were trying to go live on the same device that you were recording on.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what happened. And people need to realize, you know, I'm still green behind the ears compared to a lot of these other auditors. This is the first person I ever went out with. There's been nobody down here. So I've been winging it by myself. And so that's why I don't have any regrets, because I did learn a lot of things. One of the things I did learn is to, you know, go live quicker before they have a chance, because it just happened so fast. It was unbelievable, and those are the shots that we want to see as auditors. I understand. I'm a follower of other people, and that's the worst possible moment that video could have stopped. But when he knocked the phone out of my hand, okay, I had it on, I was doing a static or a video on my camera. I already had the YouTube Go Live set up. So all I had to do was click off that camera and switch over to YouTube, and it was already set up. And that's why that first one is only 11 seconds. So you can see that part. But as soon as it connected, before I could switch it from facing me, facing outward, he just swatted it out of my hand. I took a couple of steps back onto my left at about, as the clock goes, at about 7, 8 o'clock, there was a canine officer there, and I tried to step back so that he wasn't behind me. And at the same time, I got upset, so I pulled out my second phone, which is supposed to be my backup. I tried to go live with that. The gentleman, and I use that word loosely, the sergeant who knocked the phone out of my hand the first time is the sergeant in the video who showed David his picture. And he's also the sergeant who knocked the second phone out of my hand. He's also the sergeant who threatened and intimidated me and said unless I cooperated, I wasn't going anywhere and I wasn't getting anything back. Kind of a long answer, sorry.
As I know you, you're always live if you go out having interactions. Why wasn't you live this time?
Because, excuse me, because David and I had talked about that, and we wanted to, because we had contact prior. This wasn't our first audit even that day. We had contact earlier in the day, and he had asked me not to go live unless it looked like hands-on, because he wanted to keep a low profile. We were going to some alphabet soups, and we went down to some of the places that I am an activist with. We went down, to different places. So that's why, on hindsight, yeah, would I do things differently? Yes. As soon as the police pulled up to the building, I should have gone live. I'm just going by because David was more experienced than I was, and we had clues, he was going to signal me when he wanted me to go live. He says, if you can, don't go live until I signal you. And so that's when I tried to go live. If I had to do it again, like I said, I would have been live the minute the police showed up. But, hindsight's going to be 20/20, and I know what to do next time. And next time the phone will not be knocked out of my hand. I have a chest harness now, and unless they want to take part of my anatomy off, it's not going to be knocked to the ground. Any more questions?
I'm surprised that there are no additional questions because there were tons.
Well, I got a question, but I don't know if she would know the answer. That's the whole thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did David say any explanation on why he went to his daughter's work?
No, we have not discussed I have not discussed with him before or after anything to do with his kids, except that he has children. That's about all we talked. It was a passing thing. It wasn't a specific,
Okay, I figured that you wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. To the best of my ability.
How long did you know that David was coming down before he actually came down?
He emailed me Wednesday about noon with a message, call me, and left his phone number. I called him. Then he said he would be down in the valley Thursday morning. and then he would text me in the morning. He texted me in the morning, and we talked back and forth once he got closer to the valley. So I did not know he was going to be here until Wednesday night. He did swear me to secrecy. That will never, never happen again. I have my people in place for a reason. And
That was my next question.
you know,
Normally, before you go out, do you normally send emails or messages to people?
Yes, I'm very meticulous when I go out. I do my research. I list in an email. I list the name of the building or buildings, the address, the phone numbers, the person in charge of that particular agency or building I am going to. I give an approximate date of arrival. The people that I trust that I send this information to, they already have a picture of my ID, my registration to my vehicle, and my driver's license, so that they know if it hits a fan, they've got it all in front of them. And so that I'm not out there all by myself. And that's how it will be. That's how I'm going to do it from now on. How's that?
That sounds good. Another question is, prior to knowing he was coming to your area, how much contact had you had with him prior to that?
The last time, and I looked over the only contact I had with him was I sent him an email, and let me pull up the date to make sure so I don't speak incorrectly. Of course. Hold on, please.
You had told me it was in October, but you had to go back and look, and it was actually not in October. So,
yeah, I think it was November 2nd. And all my search parameters are not coming up like they should.
While you're looking that up, Texrose, I want to make everybody aware that not one question is off the table. However, if she doesn't answer that question, she may not know the answer. So ask anything, and she will answer it to the best of her knowledge if she can.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
Well, how close do you think you were to David when he was being arrested?
When okay, I was standing, you saw in the video, and you can help me with the exact distances because I didn't have a measuring tape. But initially, I was standing there. That distance, I would say probably maybe 3.5 feet. Initially, I was to his right, and then when they approached, he ended up turning his back to me, and that's when the canine came up beside me, and so I would say 3 to 3.5 feet.
At any time, did they tell you to back up?
Absolutely not. In fact, that's when the initial, when I knew something was going to happen, let me clarify. And then I just, I was standing there, and there was some discussion. I couldn't hear very well because I didn't want to be too close, but I wanted to be far away, kind of those balance things. I did hear them ask him something to the effect of, well, who is she? Your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. I could not hear David's response. But it was like they were coordinated. So as soon as they went hands-on, that sergeant turned his attention to me and knocked, because I'd had the camera right there on my selfie stick the whole time. He knocked it out of my hand. Then I took a couple more steps back, and that's when he was in cuffs.
Yeah, I'm just asking you because it was a fugitive felony warrant that was
Yeah.
being served on him, and I was just curious if they asked you to back up and you didn't back up.
No, they didn't. They did not say they didn't say anything to me. They didn't say, yeah, I would understand if they did. But the thing is that I didn't want to make any sudden moves or any gestures because, we know what can happen if you make sudden moves. And so I was being very cautious, and I tried to kind of sort of have the wall against my back so that, I couldn't get jumped from behind, but I did not interfere in any way, shape, or form. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you need to get to my eye, 2 of the officers had body cams. You need to get that for you.
Yeah. I pulled up the email. Premise to this email, I'd had a live stream on YouTube, and David had come in and said hi and this and that, and he had said in passing, hey, get a hold of me when you get a chance. I says, well, here's my email. He said his email. That evening I wrote this email, which is dated December 2nd, 2018, and it's quite a lengthy email. And then the next time there was contact by email or any shape was February 20th.
There's a question for you in the voice chat text. If you can't see it, I can
Okay.
read it to you.
Yeah, I'm in welcome. I guess I was nervous and didn't go over there.
I can read it to you if you'd like.
Okay. Go ahead.
Epic Shogun 2. Have you got any backlash from this in private messages? One of your videos that you did was removed from about 4 days ago. I spoke to News Now Houston in jail. It was either unlisted or listed after the live stream. Sorry, I lost my spot. People are talking. Broke up. I'm just wondering if you had any issue with that.
Okay.
Because hold on, there's more.
I see. It's from Epic Shogun 2. Okay, I see it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start at the beginning. Okay. I've had any backlash from this? Backlash, private, public, up my butt, outside my door? Yes. I've had death threats as a result of this. Online, through YouTube, by emails, and yes, I'm keeping copies of them. And yes, I'm turning them over to the proper entities. I do not deserve to have death threats placed on me. I removed about 4 days ago. I spoke with NNH in jail. I moved it to unlisted because the live chat went so crazy and there were so many trolls in there and all the misinformation, and then afterwards all the comment. I was very overwhelmed by the expressions or discussions people were having. So I unlisted it so that I could look it over, because as a channel loader, I'm responsible if there's any threats made in the chat, in the live stream, and in the comments. YouTube has been on my channel, and they've cut a lot of comments out that I have no control of. I'm not going to move them from them being spam or under review. They're going to stay where they are. So that was why I initially moved it, and then I put it back on again to give a continuum to what was going on. Someone said you were asking for donations. Yes, I was asking for donations for his defense fund. Um, because me being manipulated by him? No. I'm a survivor. I no longer am manipulated. And do I believe some things that people say to be true and find out later they're not? Yes, I think we've all experienced that. But I'm a big enough woman to say, hey, you know, don't lie to me. What's the truth? You don't have any issues for asking with donations with him. I'm not asking for donations with him, for him, or about him at this time. Is it just so you can help him? My story is that this incident happened and I got caught up in the middle of it. If I was a witness to an event that happened regarding News Now Houston and the charges and the warrant, that had nothing to do with me. And that's why I put up the latest video to show that what we were doing there that day, I wanted it to be documented that we were doing nothing illegal. We were just taking pictures. Yes, he does need money. Well, the reason the video from PNP saying he didn't need donations, that was like, I think, and people I know are searching everything I'm saying, so I'm trying to be careful, but I think it was like a couple of days after he was arrested and after Patrick had put up the video saying, News Now Houston needs help, send me money and I'll pass it on. And that's when PNP and other people put up saying, do not send any donations, because nobody knew. That was before he was bonded out, so it must have been before Saturday afternoon. So he was arrested about 12:30. Because, and then once the initial bond came out at $88,888, bumped up to the $888,888, we knew that there was no chance it was, you know, anybody was going to be able to raise the funds and all the stipulations. So it was just a matter of waiting until he got to Houston to have another bond hearing. So I don't know. I can't answer why there hasn't been a call asking for donations, but I'm not doing it. So that's up to others. End of my answer.
Anybody got any more questions?
I need to say something, kind of another statement. If you will look at my name, I came in as Texrose 956. I was prior to this Second Fiddle. And the reason I haven't said anything in Discord, because I was invited in here. And I did not want to come in. And I came in before this incident happened to try to get some education, get some understanding about, I had heard all these rumors about Discord, about, you know, just not nice things. And this person invited me in. And I came in and I said a couple of questions or statements in the general, but mostly I've been in here just listening and trying to learn and trying to understand, because I don't know everything. I never have, I never will. And I'm willing to listen and I'm open-minded. And so I've heard a lot of things and I've heard a lot of questions. And it just kind of surprises me that people will talk about the situation and talk about me specifically, and then everyone's quiet when I'm here. You can ask any question you want.
Well, I think because people realized, felt sorry for you and realized you got caught up in something. We didn't realize you barely knew him, and you realized, I guess, you shouldn't raise money for him. I don't know where I know you think he should have the presumption of innocence, of course, But I don't know, because I came in a little late, what your relationship is going to be with him moving forward.
I don't know right now. Mostly what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to continue on with my activist work, and what I've got many projects going on, and also to follow up on the police report and the Open Records Act. I am not a.
You're roboting Rose. You're cutting
Okay.
out Rose. Try to fix your mic.
I am in the process of doing the Open Records Act and the police report. Now, if I find out that there's also additional footage that he has that he's willing to share with me to help my case, then yes, I will accept that from him.
And I guess there's also a little concern if you were really aware of his of the facts of his initial rape conviction and the allegations and I think people were concerned if you knew that.
I did not know that before. Is that what you're asking?
Correct. I mean, I think people in your live stream are going in there like, do you know what, his history and the facts behind it.
I will tell you what I knew before, and I'll tell you what I know now. Okay. Before I met News Now Houston on Thursday, my understanding was what a lot of other people's understanding was, that it was basically like a statutory rape. 19 years old, she was 16, mom and daddy got mad, they pressed charges, no big deal. Okay. I met David, we sat down, and we talked before we went out. And this is not something I'm proud of, but it's something that I told you guys I would be honest and truthful. I was given the opportunity to ask him anything I wanted, just like you guys have the opportunity to ask me anything you want right now. I did not take him up on that offer. I asked him if there was any current charges or warrants out that I needed to know about before we went out together. Because if I'd known he had charges or warrants, I would not have gone out with him, and I told him such. He understood. But I did not ask him face to face, one-on-one, his whole past history. Since then, I have found out the truth. Now, clarification. Apparently, someone sent me an email, an attachment sometime a while ago, and I didn't see it. So I'm a human being, but shame on me for not doing better research. I've learned some valuable lessons on what I am and am not going to do in the future. And I hope other people learn by this.
But wait, I just have to say something really quick. Is everybody supposed to do a background check on everybody they meet?
No. What for me, what's going to change is I'm going to ask the questions. I don't have the money or the ability to do a background check on everybody, nor do I have the inclination to. I do have my gut. I do have my life experience, and I'm not perfect. But when I speak to somebody and I ask them face to face a question, I can many times tell if they're lying. I'm not perfect, but that's all I was trying to make, is the fact that I knew he had a past, and I perhaps should have asked more specific questions, and I didn't. It is what it is. I mean,
Well, many of us, or I would say I believe, he's a manipulator. So I think people were generally concerned about you, and if you heard bad things about Discord, a lot of those people that are considered bad were generally concerned for you.
Thank you.
Touche, Ranger.
Yeah, and You know, and I was very,
Witnesses take the oath to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I was very careful and cautious, but I had people close to me who had my back. Will some people look back on this and say I was manipulated? No. I mean, they may. I mean, people can think what they want to. But I don't believe I was manipulated based on the facts I had and what happened. Now, the facts may change, you know, like perhaps there's evidence that comes out that he knew there was a warrant out before he came down here. Will that change my mind? Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. But as of right now, there's no proof that he knew there was a warrant out for his arrest before he contacted me to come down.
I doubt if he would know, but I think the point is you already know he's lied to you, and he will manipulate the truth.
Ranger, I'm gonna jump in real quick, and I'm gonna say that when I went down to Texas and I did work with these guys, they normally check for warrants before they go out to any police station because they don't want to be caught in a situation. I can say that it is my understanding if he didn't do this, then he didn't know.
I understand that whoever the powers that he has friends with or whatever, that there was a check before he came down. And there was also a check when he was at the Houston Police Department. So when he was at the Houston Police Department, either the warrant was in effect and they missed it and they screwed up, or it wasn't in effect and it came into effect after he left.
He did seem surprised.
The warrant was issued on a Thursday and he got picked up on Friday. They were watching him.
Yeah,
he could have been picked up there in Harris County, right then and there.
Yep.
But he wasn't at the police station on Thursday.
No.
He was on his way down to you, wasn't he?
Yes, he was here on Thursday. If the warrant the warrant was put out the 21st, which was a Thursday, and that's when he arrived.
So you said you had initial contact with the police before he was arrested. How long before that was that first initial contact?
Okay. On that day, we went over our first stop. We went to Weslaco, which was, I'll give you an estimate, maybe 15 miles down the freeway. And we went there to the Postal Inspection Station, which is also attached to the DPS regional headquarters that I have video of, and so does he. We had been there for a while, and two DPS pulled up in an SUV. They had visible body cams going on, and it was no problem. It was like, hey, what are you doing? In any of these contacts, nobody's talked to me. It's like I'm invisible, but that was okay for me because I was just trying to be backup. So, but they were talking to him. I have it on video. What are you doing? You know, people are concerned you're taking pictures. We know you're staying on the easement, no harm, no foul. And then David started chitter-chattering and talking about this souped up 4-wheel drive vehicle they use for demos and admiring it and things like that. So there was no, they said, just make sure, you stay on the easement and no problem. They did not ask for ID, didn't ask names. The officer said his name and David just said, well, I'm David. He didn't, expound as far as that goes.
Can you clarify what he said when they showed him the picture and said, "Is this you?" I couldn't quite make out what his response was.
I couldn't either. So,
Gotcha.
And that, I tried to, and with my hearing impairment and you know, I try to enhance it as much as I can, but I couldn't hear it either. But I did hear the response of the officer, and he said, well, I think it's you. So that leads me to think that maybe I didn't hear him say anything.
Right.
But getting back to the prior audit we had gone on, where we had the contact with DPS, they left. And so we were just, you know, taking some more video further down at where gate was going on. And lo and behold, an employee comes out from the DPS building. She appeared to be a civilian. She had a badge on, and she came out and she was all uppity and said, you know, what are you doing here? You can't take pictures, and you know, you're on private property, and you know, the stuff that we hear all the time. And she didn't talk to me again. She only talked to him. And I have video of it. And she said something to the effect of, well, what's your name? Can I see your ID? And of course, David said no and no. And she goes, well, something like, well, the police will have to get your ID. And he goes, are you the police? She goes, no, but I'm calling them. So she spun around, covered up her ID, walked across the parking lot, but still out of the building, made a phone call. So then we stayed there a while longer, expecting another police officer to show up, whether it was going to be Westaco or DPS or county. And so we stayed around another 10 minutes and, you know, took video and was just waiting for someone to show up, and nobody showed up. So we just assumed that she was told, hey, you know, we've already talked to them and they have a right to be out there taking video. And we got in the vehicle and moved on to our next location. So we had contact on Thursday, but not direct contact. It was more visual, kind of pulling up beside us and looking us over with Border Patrol and DPS, but there was no verbal exchange of any sort. We made five different stops on Thursday. So I've answered everybody's questions.
There is a question in the chat. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I'm not paying attention to it. I'm sorry. So thank you for letting me know. How far up is it?
It's the Donald Glover.
Why do you believe you are manipulated? This looks like a typical audit. I'm not the one who said I was manipulated. Someone else implied that and asked if I was manipulated. I never said I was manipulated. Yes, it was a typical audit.
She was manipulated in his answer to his initial rape conviction.
He never answered. I never asked the question, so how could he answer it?
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. So you didn't ask it. I thought so you understood.
No, okay. Let me, you want me to explain again so everybody, maybe I wasn't clear. Okay. Before I met David, I'd heard rumors, not facts, regarding the story of his arrest and conviction, which was him being a 19-year-old, her being a 16-year-old, the parents got involved, and there was a statutory rape charge and conviction. Okay, that's what I had heard. That's what I believed. I did not go and do a background check. I didn't ask anybody else. Went on my merry way. When he came down here, we talked about, he asked me, you can answer any question. I did not ask him specifically about those charges. I could have, but I did not. Only thing I asked him regarding kind of sort of what happened was I asked him if there were any pending charges or warrants out for his arrest, because that would affect whether I went out with him or not. And I told him I would not go out if he had any pending charges or warrants out, because I needed more information. So when I left with him Thursday and Friday, in my mind, the rumor that I'd heard was true. Could I find out the real truth? Yes, but I did not do that.
So you received files after he was arrested, and you found out the truth for yourself.
Yes, I have them in black and white. They were sent to me by multiple sources and multiple times. I printed them up until my printer ran out of ink because there was many pages. Because for me, it's easier to read it in black and white and paper. I guess I'm old-fashioned that way. And so, yes, I've printed them up, and I saw the exact, what was charged, what he pled to, what his conviction was, and then you have to blend that in with rumors by law enforcement that choose to make videos and put them up on YouTube.
Okay, the next question is, who knew you were going to the locations where he was arrested? That's from Donald.
Zero.
So
Nobody.
in your mind, Rose, this was a regular audit. You chose not to answer questions or ask the questions about his past because he gave you that option, so you did not do that. And all in all, you felt that this was just another one of those auditing days, normal days. So, and I really do feel for you as far as the death threats. That's pretty shitty. And I hope they find or get the person who's doing that. Do you feel that because he was arrested, that this has been, and this is just your personal opinion, do you think that this is now, because of what's happened, a hunt because he was previously convicted in the past, and then people are automatically finding him guilty because of the past? Or do you find something strange about this whole situation, that all this stuff is happening like right away as soon as he got arrested?
You want my opinion?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
if you feel there are facts, go ahead and give facts. But I'm just curious to see what your opinion is on this, because it seems strange to me that after the arrest, an immediate press release was done, like it was prepared prior to the arrest, that like a lot of this stuff was popping out.
I believe it's akin to the witch hunt, that happened in Massachusetts, and he's not the first one, and he's not going to be the last one. That's my personal opinion.
But you do know this was being reinvestigated well before anything that happened with the Houston raid. Felipe Hemming has said he's surprised that the arrest didn't happen sooner. We're all waiting for him to be arrested for it.
I did not know that until after the arrest and documents were sent to me. As I stated earlier, I did not have that information. If there had been an impending investigation and impending a warrant out for his arrest, I probably wouldn't have gone out with him. This is my home. This is my community. Yeah, McAllen's a ways away, but this is a tight-knit community, and I have to live here after everything's said and done. I still got to live here. I got to survive, and I continue to do my activist work. So I'm not going to put myself, my safety, or my reputation in danger by doing any shyster stuff. That's not who I am.
No, I think you misunderstood. I think you misunderstood the question.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Can you reword the question so I can understand better?
You're under the impression that this could have been just Houston getting back at News Now Houston, right?
Yes, I think it was. I'm I'm not a conspiracist, but I don't believe in coincidences.
I know, but my point, I wasn't really asking a question. Felipe Hemming stated this has been under investigation. He was questioned about this well before the Houston raid, and that they were surprised he hadn't been arrested yet. It was a matter of time. So that doesn't really fit the narrative that they're trying to get back at him over the Houston raid.
But Rager, did you know that Felipe Hemming and the Hemming firm are there, that David is the client of theirs? I find that very interesting.
There's another question for you, Rose.
Okay.
Epic Shogun 2, where did you hear about the conviction story of the 86? I'm assuming he means the 86 case. You said you never asked about it directly to him. Where did this third-hand story come from?
She has answered that so many times. She said,
I'll answer it as again. I heard about the conviction of 86 for rumors. I can't tell you specifically who said what, but that's what I'd heard. I did not ask it directly to him, and I can't answer a question if I don't have the answer for. I mean, the rumors are out there, and there, some of them I believe and some of them don't. That particular one I chose to believe, right or wrong. It just, I'm just glad I'm alive, really, to tell you guys the truth. Because when it started and there was only 2 police officers there, what the video doesn't show is how many showed up. Initially there were 2, then the K9 was 3, and then another SUV showed up and there was 2, and on and on and on until at the end, I mean, they were hovering over me and they were taking him over to his vehicle, and there was like between 9 and 12. I can't tell you exactly, but there was at least 9 there, and it was a felony warrant. They wouldn't even tell me it was a felony warrant. They just asked me, do you know why he's being arrested? And I said, no, can you tell me? And they go, he has a warrant out for his arrest. I said, what for? They wouldn't tell me.
Was this the first time you've ever experienced something like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot different on YouTube videos than it is in real life. I'm going to wear Depends next time I go out.
But you understand why there was such a response.
Oh, if it's a felony warrant, yes, I can understand that part. But the thing is I was just a witness. And if it had gone bad, I could get caught up in the middle of it. And it had nothing to do with me. So I don't mean to sound dramatic, but, Okay, can I tell you something? Ricky Trevino, 21 years old, was at church filling plates up for the homeless. He took too many Tylenol. His family got concerned. They called 911 and asking for help. Paramedics show up. He refuses treatment. He gets snappy at him. He gets in his car. He drives off at the speed limit. He's going down the road. He sees cops behind him. Lights flashing, no sirens. He turns his Facebook Live on. Within 10 minutes, it's still a low-speed chase. The cops start shooting at his vehicle while it's moving. Within 5 minutes, he's pulled over into a ditch. Some are saying that he hit a government cop car. But anyways, he was in the ditch. I've seen the video. I saw the video and heard the video, and I posted the video where he said, they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me. And they shot him 15 times. We have no answers. We have no answers because it was multiple agencies involved. Texas Rangers has taken over the case, and they're not releasing anything. It's 98 days with no answers. So this is why I'm concerned for my safety when I go out on an audit here in the Valley.
Texas Rose, thank you. I saw that video. It's very sad. It was terrible. My only question to you is, why did you turn the camera off? If I missed the question.
Regarding when the video stopped?
Correct.
That I hit the button so that, how do I describe it? Because I'm not really technical, so I'm trying to use my hand.
Explain it.
Okay, I'm trying. If you could explain it, because I'm using my hands and you can't see what I'm doing. So if someone else could explain it better. I was trying to get on YouTube. So
the original video that she posted today, when it ended, she was trying to go live. And you can't go live on your phone while you're still recording the video. So she had to end the video in order to be able to go live, but the live stream failed. So that's why the video ended where it did.
Do you have the connection?
Do you have the officer batting it out of your hand on video?
No.
Were they wearing body cameras?
I didn't think they were, and I've looked it over, but other people have been emailing me and texting me and saying they're seeing body cams on the officers in that video. I didn't see any, but maybe
I would request all videos from even including the cars that were there. You might find it.
Yes.
One of those.
Yes. Yes.
You don't think I didn't tell her that?
But I thought I had enough time because, well, the video's on your screen, the camera video. All I had to do was hit the red button. Immediately, right in front of me, is the YouTube setup. Was already set up. All I had to do was hit live, and that's what I did. You know, I already had the title and everything like that. So all I had to do was hit one button, and that's how fast it happened. And I didn't yell out, "I'm going live," so to give them any clue. But it was like as soon as they were going to put cuffs on him, they turned their attention on me, and they did not want it documented.
There's a few new faces in here. If you guys have any questions for Texrose, go ahead.
Texrose, I got another one for you. How do you feel about this particular charge now? Have you read? This is a two-parter here. Have you read the affidavit and the probable cause? And if so, how do you feel about that? And what do you think?
As I said in my opening statement, I'm a survivor. And I choose not to answer that question.
Okay.
I got one question, just clarification. You said that you pulled down your video that was asking for donations, and you said that you've gotten more information since that point. Is that the reason
Incorrect.
the reason you pulled down that video? You mentioned that the trolls in the chat were also part of the reason.
Okay, incorrect. The reason I pulled that video down because there was so many trolls and so much hate going on in there, and then the comments, and then the threats started. So I put it onto unlisted so I could go back over everything that was said in the live chat and the comments that were being made so I could document the threats. I did not pull it down because I don't believe that video listed in the description asking for donations.
Thank you for the clarification.
Texrose.
Yes.
I've just watched that video just before the arrest. No police officer wearing body cam.
Okay. I'm like I said, really, if you think about it, I'm really new. This is my first time ever doing an audit with another person.
Talk about your luck.
I've only had, I've been an activist my whole life, but I've only been on YouTube since July. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but that's why I ask questions and try to educate so that I can learn. Where was the body cam position so that I can look at it and know next time that's where I need to look?
Body cams are normally positioned center chest or on left pocket, but no, there's no body cams on those 3 officers that are in that video.
Okay. Okay. Because I misunderstood. I thought you said you saw one, and I said, I didn't see any, but, you know, I'm willing to listen and, you know, look back at it. I assume, you know, what assume means, but there's some dash cams. But, yeah, I've been advised by my friends to make sure and be all-inclusive of my request, and I'm going to link my request to me, to what happened to me, to my police complaint, so that there is more likelihood that I'll get copies versus the arrest itself.
There looks like a business that was across the street from that situation. You may want to walk over to them or go to them and see if they're willing to share their security footage at the side, and maybe they caught something as well.
Yes. Yes. When I go up to McAllen, I've already started in place the security measures I normally take, letting people know I'm going. And that will be part of it, but I want to get the business part done first, which is the police complaint and the open records request. And believe it or not, it's like walking distance from the police station to where he was arrested.
I have a question for you. As this moves forward and you've had time to reflect on what's happened and read the documents that have been sent to you, will you maintain close contact with Earl, or do you see yourself separating and trying to isolate yourself from him?
I will probably stay in contact with him. He has some video that I want. I have some video that he wants regarding our audits and also regarding my police complaint. And as far as anything beyond that, I will cross that bridge when I come to it. But that's the primary reason for contact, is to get video from him and he get video from me, so that the story, you know, because there's many, like I said, you know, I have over 30 videos from those 2 days. The one I put up is just one. So I have a lot of editing to do, and not to say that my videos can't stand up there on their own. They probably could, but I think it would be better if, in collaboration with what his video has and splicing and editing, it would be a better, be more interesting to watch. Did that answer your question?
It did. I have a follow-up question. And don't take this personal or anything, but do you ever ask yourself why it was you caught in this situation and not someone else that happened to be there when it went down?
Sorry, I'm laughing. Not yes, but hell yeah. Why the hell me? What did I do to deserve this shit? Yeah. I don't know why. It's got me asking myself, you know, like, you know, because people are saying, you know, he's manipulating you and he's, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I fought to become a survivor and not to have predators after me. I'm not saying he's a predator. I'm just saying that I have in my past, because of the way I conduct myself or the vibes I get off, and I am not aware of doing that any longer. But it's got me questioning myself, and it's not a very good feeling.
I think that's correct, William. Then in wrong place, wrong time. But I think, you know, just by hearing all this and looking at the video, I honestly believe that I think that they were both under the impression that it was a natural audit, a regular audit. They didn't know what was coming.
Well, we knew I have since gotten, let me see if I can, because I have a massive notebook, because as things has happened, you know, I forget things and I try to write it down. But I did a Google Earth search because there's no signage on this building. There's no numbers. There's no, you know, business. There's nothing, you know. And it is, let me make sure I get you the right address. It's 1500 Pecan, Pecan Boulevard in McAllen. And if you pull it up on GIS, I don't have the I don't have the criteria or the whatever you call it, but all it shows for me is unavailable. So, but what I understand is that it is, and he said the words at the beginning of the video. Did you hear him? What he said that building was? It was the International Intelligence Agency. Again, International Intelligence Agency. So by the appearance of the building, no numbers on the building, no verbiage or names on the building, and giving it being an international intelligence agency, we knew that there was a good probability we were going to, you know, they were going to watch us on the video, you know, and maybe call someone out, you know, to ask us to leave, but we weren't breaking the law. So.
William, what do you mean by pinging the phone? Are you telling me that they have his GPS information on the phone and they know where he's at all times?
It could be that.
No, they can ping a phone by calling it or sending a text message, and they can find what tower or triangulate a tower where the signal went to. That's all.
I've heard of it. You know, normally they need a warrant for it, but
well,
you know, if it's a warrant, if it's a fugitive warrant, they're going to do whatever they have to do to find somebody.
They don't need a warrant. They don't need a warrant to ping his phone if he has an arrest warrant out on him.
Yes. I agree. Yes.
Or it could be as simple as they put a be on the lookout for with his picture out, like they had his picture, and an officer recognized him from his YouTube videos, if nothing else, and approached him with that.
Well, we had also, the day before, we'd been to some alphabet soups that, you know, that we had no contact with, but they were definitely watching us. You know, let me see. I know we're at the DEA, the FBI, the Wessico Municipal Building. And there was, I've got them listed, but I don't have them in front of me, of course.
All I'm saying is they might not have recognized him or had that particular information yet that day. So that could be just an officer just was briefed that morning and recognized the picture. It could have been as simple as that.
Well, and it depends on what time of the day the warrant was put out. Because, like I said, we're at the DEA's office or building in McAllen, the FBI building in McAllen. Then we went to the National Butterfly Center down in Mission. And then we went to La Lomita Mission. And during this time, I mean, it's just a part of living down here, is you always have Border Patrol, BPS, CBP, county, locals. They're everywhere. I mean, they outnumber the all these agencies outnumber the population 2 to 1. So, you know, and they already have facial recognition at the border. we were close to the border, but we didn't go to a border crossing. But it doesn't mean there aren't facial recognition cameras throughout down here in the valley that could have picked him up. Because I know at least 2 cameras that picked both of us up by Border Patrol. So I'll be just, guessing.
Rose, how many days were y'all down there auditing before this?
He came down Thursday morning or mid-morning, and he got arrested around 12:30 Friday. So we did 4. I was mistaken. I thought we did 5, but we did 4 audits on Thursday, and when he was arrested, it was our second audit of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I don't believe in coincidence either.
And we had intentions to do more audits. We had a list of, we compiled, what I thought would be a good place, and then he had a suggestion of this. And so what we did was we were concentrating on the North Valley first, and then we're going to go in the South Valley and even get out to the island to see the Aerostat blimp and Coast Guard and some other places down there. So, but that's just me. I don't believe in coincidences.
Which y'all say you hit Border Patrol? Which one did you hit first?
We didn't hit Border Patrol. Border Patrol was around us they're everywhere. I mean, I've got 2 Border Patrol agents live in my neighborhood. But where we met up with them was when we were at excuse me, we were 5. I mislisted 1. We were in the Weslaco City Center, which has the police, the fire, and the courthouse all in one building, on Thursday as our last stop. And right beside it was a Border Patrol Regional Center. And I lost track, but there were probably at least 200 vehicles parked, and people were coming and going the whole time, and we got some video of that. And then the next time that we sort of had contact was when we were at the Butterfly Center, when we crossed the levee to go down to the border, right on the river, because the border's the middle of the river. And Border Patrol drove, came side by side with us and kind of nodded and gave the look and pushed a button on his chest and things like that. And there was also Border Patrol cameras that you can recognize they were on the posts, and that's what he mentioned in the video to make sure, I captured that and got a still shot, because they follow you. It was something, I look at it like one of those cameras like they use for hunting, where they're tracking, when the deer come for the feed and stuff. But you could physically see, as we were driving by, you could see the camera lens moving with us.
Yeah, he has a history with Border Patrol. I'm pretty sure that's where the whole mess started.
Yeah. And plus, we didn't even go to some of the other places. I mean, we've got over 4,000 troops down here stationed. They got bases going on. I posted some video, but the amount of government agencies and military that's down here, people don't understand it till you see it. And that's why I'm videoing. That's why I'm activist, because I'm trying to get pictures of these places that when that fencing wall, whatever goes up, we'll never see it again. There's going to be a no man's land along the southern border of Texas that will only be available to the federal government. ranging anywhere from a few hundred feet to 5 miles.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at that when you did that report down at the that mission, and I looked at the map, and I'm like, there's a whole lot of private property they're gonna have to do something with, because they're not gonna be. You can't just take people's property without good reason.
Well, they already have. They're still, and it's being fought in court, and I'm trying to stay in good with the people and the powers that be. But there are court cases going on, and the reason I was at the mission that day was because they just lost a court case because they fought having a survey done. So once they do the survey, they have up to 1 year, and the next will be eminent domain. And the Butterfly Center, they're going to lose half of their whole Butterfly Center. And, like David asked me, why are they putting the wall or the fence so far away from the border? Convenience. They're lazy. They use the levees, or berms as people call them. That's where they're putting the fencing, because it's already packed down. It's already got caliche on it. It's easier just to expand on that than to build something closer to the river where they'd have to build a new road. They want to have a road on both sides of the fencing. And they've already got, a bunch of fencing up. If you look at my videos, you'll see I show, where it is. I show Brownsville, the fencing, and, the UT Brownsville is right beside the international crossing into Matamoros.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up, because I've been arguing with people now for over a month from Iowa, from North Carolina, that think they know more about the border than the people that live down there. And I've been telling them that they've been taking land and they're building the wall already, but they don't want to believe it.
Well, I heard a story, and it's just a rumor. But I have got names and phone numbers I'm going to follow up on. But apparently, about a month ago, they made an exception to one of we call it by slang land grab, where they put up the fencing, but they put a gate in, and they give you a card key, and also Border Patrol has it. And
do you know Geronimo Cruz there, Miss Rose?
Not personally, I might, but I'm not sure.
Okay, Geronimo Cruz is my aunt, and she's one of the biggest activists right there on the Texas border. All right, because she's Native American and she's fighting against the wall. So if you don't know her, what exactly are you doing over there?
I am trying to capture the places that I feel that the border wall is going to go up, that is important to me, that may be closed off.
That really wasn't fair.
I would love to meet or be in contact with.
They're actually, it's all the way from Corpus Christi all the way to Laredo is where they're making the wall. Okay, so a lot of the ranches out there are going to lose some of the property. Some of the people that live right there on the borderline on the river, some of their land is going to cross. What it is there's a lot of Native American land out there. That's why my aunt is protesting against it, and it's been going on for years. So I don't know. If you don't know my aunt, then what are you protesting over there?
I guess nothing, sir.
No. I mean, I'm just asking because, this has been going on for years.
Yeah, but Rick, come on, let's be honest here. How many different activists are there? If we believe in one thing, doesn't mean that somebody else is an idiot because they don't believe in something else. Come on, she's got her sights on something else. That doesn't mean that she's not doing anything out there. She's out there. She's got her camera. She's out there recording. Hell yeah, I give her respect for doing that shit.
And I reach out and I put myself out there to get a hold of anybody and everything I can. I'm sorry if I don't know every activist down here. If she's with the Sierra Club, they have rebuffed me over and over again because I don't know why. They haven't said. They're just busy. I missed an opportunity. They had a protest down at the Butterfly Center. I had already made a commitment to spend with my family. My family comes before anything. And so what I'm doing down here is I am doing multiple things, but one of the projects I'm doing is trying to get video and still shots of as much of the border that I have access to right now, because some of the places I had access to 2 weeks ago have been closed to me. And I want to get word out and let people know I'm willing to work with anybody. I think that my not knowing this famous person, I'm sorry. I'm a human being. I'm doing the best I can.
Texrose, if this goes to trial with he's now Houston, are you going to be there in the courtroom?
I haven't made up my mind yet. And I've also been forewarned that I'll probably be called as a witness. So if I'm subpoenaed as a witness, then I can't be in there. So.
Why would you be subpoenaed as a witness?
Right. I was going to ask, because I'm here in Houston, Rose, okay, and I happen to live in the southeast side of Houston, which we know Earl. Everybody on this side of town knows Earl, okay? We know what he did in 85. These allegations are new.
May I interrupt? May I interrupt for a minute? The reason I would be called as a witness would be totally and only solely that I witnessed his arrest. Period. End of story. I don't know anything else.
But why would you be called as a witness for his arrest when thousands of people get arrested and no one's called as a witness?
I don't know. I've been informed that, not from legal counsel, but from other people, to be prepared and to make sure that, you know, what happened, and I have it clear.
Rose, I wouldn't worry about that. You have nothing to do with the relevant conduct of the crime, and his arrest has nothing to do with his court case.
I agree with you.
If you are called as a witness, it'll be on the grounds of what you saw at the arrest, or if he asked, or if you asked him something, if he told you something. So just tell the truth, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. You know, as far as me going, I haven't made up my mind. I don't know.
Well, I personally feel bad for you. You got shoved in the middle of a shitty situation, and you definitely did not deserve anything bad to happen to you or your channel or anything. I definitely respect you and the activism that you do down there.
Thank you. You know, and I don't mind constructive criticism. I learn a lot of things from people's, you know, to making suggestions or whatever. But to point fingers because I didn't know a famous activist down here, I think was unfair. I don't know what I don't know. I'm doing the best I can do. That's all.
Who have
Well,
you
no,
been
ma'am. I
warned
wasn't
by?
trying to attack you or anything. It's just that the Lipan Apaches have been fighting the government wall for years and years now.
Well, I know that. I know that, but I'm fairly new to YouTube. I've been an activist in other ways, shapes, and forms. I was, you know, we could talk all day about the stuff I've done. But what I'm trying to say is the fact that if you know this lady and she's very active, feel free to give her my information and have her get a hold of me, because I welcome any and all. I mean, I can't, short of, you know, going out there with the protest sign, you know, begging for somebody to go on an audit with me, I'm by myself.
Well, how far are you from San Juan?
It's like a half an hour.
Okay. That's the homeland of every Lipan Apache, and from Texas all the way to Arizona and New Mexico. We all know that. Even the Oklahoma Apaches know that. And we've been sitting there fighting the wall for years and years and years and years and years. If you really want to be an activist, go down there.
I'm doing the best I can, sir, but you just helped me tickle my memories, is that they had the Texas Independence Day reenactments down here, and it does include the Apaches and other tribes. And I will put some feelers out to them, because it's a fine line living in the community and being an activist.
You also have Eagle Pass and the natives out there, which are the Kickapoo. The Kickapoo.
Yeah, that's a long.
The Kickapoo actually has a reservation between Mexico and Texas.
Are you trolling?
There is absolutely no shortage of activism and stuff to do in any state, and it's mind-boggling that more people don't get in on it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to balance things out, because I'm also doing things at the local level, like finding justice for Ricky, by getting the tattered flag taken down and replaced at the police department. So I'm trying to be an activist and documenting and getting word out, and I welcome anybody who wants to help.
Who told you that you would most likely be a witness for this arrest? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I'm just curious.
Yep, I choose not to answer that. Thank you.
I'd like to just clarify something. I think I saw something in the chat. Saw that people are saying that you're an innocent victim in all this, and I just wanted to make sure that you think Earl did not make you a victim in this. It's just happened to happen, and I don't think either one of you knew. So the people who are making her a victim are the ones that are trying to harm her by doing death threats. That's the victim part. Is that correct?
Correct. I am not a victim. I am not a victim. Like I said, my statement when I first started this is I'm a survivor, and it took me years to become a survivor, and nobody is going to take this power away from me. Am I a victim of circumstance? Yes, but I am not a victim. There's a difference.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I think that's getting spread around as that's misinformation there. I just wanted to make sure we got that clear.
Thank you. I haven't been keeping up with the chat. I do the same thing when I do live streams. I'm not very good at paying attention, so if something needs to be brought to my attention, I hope I've done myself justice. I've done you guys justice by speaking the truth and answering the questions that so many wanted me to answer. So.
I think the truth is all that people want to hear at this point.
I just want to tell you thank you, Rose, for coming on here and answering questions. And I know that it took a lot of nerve to come on here with a lot of people and speak your mind and state how you feel.
Thank you very much. And also, and I was going to start it during my statement, and I says, well, no, they don't need to know this, but I'm going to say it anyways. I've been very sick. I was in the emergency room for most of the day Thursday. I've got bronchitis, and my ribs hurt, and I've got some other things going on, and I'm under doctor's care, and I found out why he said don't lift over 5 pounds, on and on. So I purposely did not take the medication that was prescribed to me 2 hours before, anticipating coming on so that I would be clear-minded.
Miss Rose, now this room, God bless them, they're taking it easy on you, and they have sympathy for you in some ways. Are you willing to go to Merv's Discord and actually feel the heat and answer real questions?
No.
If there's anything that you can ask, you're welcome to ask any questions. We haven't made anything off of limits, so I don't know.
No, Don, you'll block me real quick.
Questions.
Okay, listen. Okay, first of all, anybody who wants to ask me any questions, I would hope that so long as it's not, giving me a death threat or something like that, but any question, you can ask me anything. Right here, right now. I am not going to Merv's. So this is the opportunity for the people who are from MERBs to question me and to ask me, because this is going to be your only chance.
And
Donkey,
they're all in
donkey,
here, and
donkey,
they
donkey,
all have a
donkey,
chance
donkey.
to talk.
Are you going to block us if we start asking her hard questions? Because let me be honest. I've been listening to her, and I know a lot of y'all have. Some of her shit doesn't add up, and she's avoiding and skipping questions.
I'll be honest, I will not block you, but it's up to her what questions she's going to answer.
And we're going to have this civilly done. We're not going to have 10 people
Yeah,
asking
there
the
will
question.
be. There will be.
Okay, I'll tell you
civil
what. I'll
discussion
back off. I'll back off. I'll back off. Who's in here from MERBs that's real good at questions? Well, Leonard's not here. Fuck.
Yeah, we discussed this at the beginning of the recording, Rude, that anything is on the table as far as questions that are being asked. If she chooses to answer, she will. If she chooses not to, she either say no comment and then move on. So,
And that's cool. That's cool. She doesn't want to answer some questions, but there's a lot of things that just doesn't add up to her story. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. If I can answer the question, I will. One thing I am not going to even entertain answering is anything regarding the current charges. So that's all.
I have a question. The day that Earl was arrested, how many cameras did he have on?
He didn't have any on him. He had 2 cameras on his selfie stick. The day before, he had a body cam and a selfie stick with a camera on it. But on Friday, he decided to put his body camera, I guess you call it, and so he had 2 cameras on the selfie stick.
So he didn't have his body cam. Do you know where it was at?
It was on the selfie stick. They were like one on top of the other. So they were both recording at the same time.
When he was arrested, did he give you the cameras?
No. That's one of the first things they did was take his camera out of his hand, put it on the ground, and they. I did attempt to try to get his cameras. I put in a request for property when he was at Hidalgo County, and they said that they did not have it in property.
Why was that location decided on for that day?
What location? For where he was arrested?
Where you guys were at. Why did you decide that specific spot to go and audit?
This is Teresa.
Okay, well, let me answer. Can I answer the question and then I'll talk to you? I'll answer your question, Teresa.
Well, my question is very similar in that I'm curious how this trip and these audits came about. And when you decided to go on this trip and when this trip was planned.
Okay, so I'm going to answer it again. David contacted me by email on Wednesday, gave me his phone number through email, and asked me to call him. I called him, and he said he was on the way down, and would I be interested in doing some audits with him? And I said, yes. I said, but we need to sit down and set some ground rules. He said he would be arriving the next day, and in the morning he texted me, and then we talked via text on his way down here.
Had you heard from Earl prior to that email?
Yes. No. Okay.
So that email was the first time you had any communication with Earl?
No.
And then, Miss Rose, what were the ground rules specifically? Because apparently...
Let her answer one question at a time.
Yes, I need to answer one question at a time, or I'm gonna be silent. The question was, again, my contact with Earl. My contact with Earl was in a live chat that I did in December. We conversed in the live chat, And he said he wanted to contact me, and I said, well, I'd love to hear from you. This is my email. He gave me his email. That evening, I sent him an email, pretty lengthy email, saying, what I was trying to do down here, and could he help in any way? And I gave him my contact information. That was December 2nd of 2018. I did not get a response back until Wednesday, the 21st.
Okay, just so I clarify my head. So from December until now, there was no communication, and at this point, that's when he wanted to do a audit with you.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying that I might not have seen him in a chat, in a live stream, or I might have commented on one of his videos, but that I don't consider the communication. I think you're talking about is either by email or text or phone.
Correct.
I didn't even have.
My apologies. I was just going to say direct contact was just those few incidents, correct?
Yes.
Just a real quick question, and I'll let somebody else ask a question. I apologize for taking a lot of time. Besides where you were at.
Okay. I need to take a hold on.
She's been really sick, guys. Give her just a second.
Rose, when you feel better, you reach out to me, but I am not going to be a part of
Sorry about that.
questioning you while you're ill and in this shape. So I'm going to leave the chat, but you are always welcome to contact me. And
Okay, I'm back.
not anybody can get you my contact information. And if she didn't hear me, let her know that.
I'm sorry.
No worries. I know you're ill, and hopefully you start feeling better. But just, I guess my last question was going to be about your plans for that day. Once you were done with that audit where you were at, where Earl was arrested, what was the plans after that? What were you supposed to be doing after that?
We had 2 or 3 other places, and I don't have the names off the top of my head. But we had them already planned, and had put them in the GPS or MapQuest or Google or whatever. But we had we figured we could do 3 more that day.
Were any of them border audits?
Not at the border crossings. There were other agencies, and also we wanted to document where the troops were, which is, everything's near the border. I mean, I live 12 miles from the border, so it's all relative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rose, can I ask you 2 simple questions?
Sure.
Have you been contacted by any police department to make a statement about his arrest?
No.
Did you witness him saying any incriminating statements during his arrest?
I'm thinking. Hold on a second.
I'll qualify that with incriminating. Something you think
that would have hurt him or his case or whatever.
Correct.
No, I did not. But also, clarification is the fact that I couldn't hear everything he was saying. But what I heard, and I can say, is I didn't hear him say anything incriminating.
Then I wouldn't worry the least bit about being called as a witness. This is the only reason why I asked those 2 questions.
Okay. Well, I don't know, I mean, it's, and the thing is, it's always better to be prepared. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine, but I just keep in documentation in case somebody asks me.
I'm sorry. Have you received any advice from any of the other Texas auditors about how to handle yourself during this?
Oh, yes. Solicited and unsolicited both. And I appreciate it. And I listen, you know, it's, you know, I even got a comment on one of my videos, you know, to reposition your mic. Well, I don't know how to reposition my mic when it's part of my phone. It's not like I have a fancy camera with a microphone on it, you know?
I was thinking more about what you should and shouldn't say.
No, nobody has advised me of. It's been mostly like, well, we're glad you're safe. You know, like when I was, if you critique my video that I put up, and I will take the critique, but I was doing what he was telling me to do, in the fact that he wanted me to document, because we thought it was contact because they were getting us as their First Amendment auditors. So he wanted me to make sure and scan around to show that we were on the easement. But some people are saying that once he got contact, I should have never taken my camera off him. And, you know, now I know.
Have any of the Texas auditors advised you on what you should and shouldn't say after the incident occurred, between, say, that Friday afternoon and now?
What I shouldn't and shouldn't say to whom?
Have they coached you?
No.
Exactly.
No, they have not coached me. No. And
I think that falls under the witch hunt, guys. That's the other part of it.
Can I clarify that? That if they had started to imply, let alone say that, well, you know, Rose, you really should do this, and, you know, maybe you shouldn't say that, and, you know, well, maybe if you say it this way, I'd have shut them down in a heartbeat. I'm my own woman. I speak the truth. So any misconception that I can be manipulated is false.
Question asked, question answered. I think that's fine. I don't need to think we need to, you know, she's a big girl and she came in here knowing that questions would be asked like that.
Yeah, I'm not taking it personally. I want it out on the table, because this is going to be the only time you guys have this chance. So the rest of it will, you know, will be what it is. But
Texrose, sorry,
I have a question.
Hello?
Go ahead, Frog, and then NJ.
Yeah, Texrose, I didn't come from MERB, so I don't know about any rules or anything. I made my independent way here. So I apologise if I break any rules, because I didn't hear any rules. Firstly, can I say how pleased I am that you're here? You have nothing to fear from MERB's room, I don't believe. They respect people who deserve respect, and you deserve respect. You were put in a horrible position. Did you hear what Teresa said before she left the room?
I'm having a hard time with the whole conversation here, so I may not have heard what she said. The only thing I heard Teresa ask me was about the audit and him getting in touch with me and planning for the audit. If she asked another question or made another statement, I missed it.
Teresa said if she didn't want to ask you any questions while you were feeling ill, however, when you're better at some future point, you either have her contact details or you can get her contact details, and to do so, and feel free to contact her.
Well, thank you for informing me of that. And I might do that. And I appreciate that, because I didn't hear that part. So.
And all I would caution you to be is be your own person.
Yes. Yes.
And thank you for the time. I'm out.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Are you now fully aware of his complete rap sheet and or police record?
Yes. I have it in I have it in I have a printout. Like I said, I received quite a few of them. I can look at, make sure we're talking about exactly the same thing. If you'll hold on for just a second.
And what are your thoughts on his past?
That's been asked and answered about 3 times. This is being recorded. I'm sure you'll be able to find that somewhere else, Rick.
Okay, I have here in front of me a document. The first page is like micro mini, but the second page is what I'm referring to. And at the bottom it has hcdistrictcourtclerk.com edocs, and it lists the activities. There's a number of them. It lists the holds, and it lists a number of criminal history. Then it lists the active parties. Is that what you were referring to?
That's just his complete rap sheet.
Yeah, it goes back to 8/20 of 1985, and it ends with 2/21 of 2019.
There are records for go further back than that.
Well, that's all I have.
They're talking about the PDF file that you was sent.
Oh.
That you read in detailed.
Yeah, I don't have the printout in front of me. I'm sorry.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
She knows what it is.
Yeah, I ran out of ink. I prefer to read things hard copy. Just me, and I was trying to print out these docs and I ran out of ink. So I will do some more research and print them out.
And Jay, I've been sending her documents as they were coming available. Anything that was prudent, I forwarded over to her and made sure she was having time to read it, though.
I'll put it this way. The reason I ran out of ink is I printed up over 100 pages of documents totally about Earl David Warden. So if I don't have it all, I will get more.
I got a question. Texrose, earlier you were alluding to, the fact that you don't believe in coincidences. Would you be willing to give us any more information as to like what the specific coincidence is that you were referring to?
Regarding the coincidence that News Now Houston, has many projects, but most current one is a high-profile project on the murders and the screw-up of the no-knock arrest, and he was putting information out there. And then he goes from there on Tuesday to stir the pot and to do a protest or activism, and it's documented, and he was inside the Houston Police Department. They ran a check on him, and I'm trying not to cough, sorry. They ran a check on him, and either, one of two things. Either the warrant was active and Houston PD screwed up, or it was not active, and I found out that, the warrant was the next day. And then coincidentally, the next day is when they put the warrant out, and then he's down here away from pretty much everybody, because I'm, many people didn't even know who I was before this happened. So it wasn't like they could, see it. It just seems coincidental that he's trying to do an investigation or a project, and then an arrest warrant of something that happened, over 20 years ago is brought forward.
Thank you.
Rose, do you know the date that police department reopened the investigation?
I don't have any of these dates memorized. I have to go through my paperwork. I heard. You can tell me.
October 2017 is when the police department reopened the investigation.
But Miss Rose, okay, you're saying that that day that he stirred the pot, he went to headquarters for HPD, and you do show your ID, and they do check you, and he was okay. Could it? I mean, if Houston Police or Harris County really wanted to get Earl, all they had to do was get him on the supposed video that he supposedly made inside the crime scene of the house. Okay, because then if he said he turned the TV on, well, that's tampering with evidence. That is a felony here in Texas. So why wouldn't they get him on that instead of something that from another city, which Deer Park is another city in Harris County? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Well, the other reason I think it's a coincidence is within an hour, I wasn't even home yet from the incident, and they're putting out press releases from Deer Park that was incorrect. That was a pre-printed, pre-calculated press release before the incident happened, and they forgot to proofread it before they published it.
So what was incorrect about the press release from Deer Park?
U.S. Marshals.
The U.S. Marshals were not present.
Now, Rose, do you really think if it was pre-calculated and planned ahead, they would have gotten the facts a little more correct and not used the U.S. Marshals? Maybe this was a spur of the moment?
I would hope so. I'm just saying I don't know. It's speculation. I'm just saying somebody asked me why I thought I don't believe in coincidences, and what I thought backed that up. I'm just telling you what my feelings are. It's all speculation. It can't, I'm not inside these government agencies to know exactly why they did what they did. I'm just a little old lady down here in South Texas, got caught up in this and just saying, well, this is pretty coincidental that this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened.
I would think that if they really wanted to do this correctly, they would have done a better job than that press release. I mean, it just seems so weird that they got the warrant. They've had it for the day that he was out there at the stirring the pot incident. They didn't arrest him then, but they waited to this point, and they pretty much dropped the ball on that. So they had an opportunity, and it just looks weird to me.
Now, when he was in Houston stirring the pot, was that Wednesday?
Tuesday.
When was the warrant issued? What day?
The next day, the 21st.
So how could they arrest him on a warrant that wasn't issued in Houston?
Actually, the warrant was issued Thursday, right after the Channel 2 newscast.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
The warrant was issued. Hold on, William. The warrant was issued Thursday, right after the Channel 2 news on unsolved rapes in Houston.
Yeah, Thursday was the 21st. I know it's the 21st, but it's Thursday, not Wednesday. I misspoke.
The investigation started October 2017. He was in Houston on that Tuesday. The warrant was issued that Thursday. He was arrested that Friday. That's the timeline.
Yes.
So where's the coincidence then?
So there was no reason to arrest him on Tuesday because he didn't have a warrant.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying the timing. So the investigation was open. You're saying October 2017?
Correct, Rose.
Okay. So
well before him stirring the pot, well before the Houston Police Department fuck up on that raid. Well before.
What y'all forgetting, William and Miss Rose, is Thursday, Channel 2 News here in Houston did a big thing of unsolved rapes dating back for years, okay? And they pulled it out. All of a sudden, that Thursday, the warrant was issued. That's where your coincidence is. It has nothing to do with him stirring the pot.
Or the Houston shooting, or the Houston raid.
Right. Unfortunately, Miss Rose and the rest of y'all, what Errol was putting out on the Texas shooting. Hold on, let me finish. What Earl was putting out, if y'all remember, was on the news. And right after the news, Earl was sitting there putting exactly what the news said, but in his own way.
Hello?
Hello.
You're still here.
Hello.
Okay, well, he just stopped talking, like, so.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily a question.
Okay.
Just want to say thanks
Well, if I
again for you coming in and answering questions to the best of your ability. I know that there's a lot of questions. I know you've had a lot of stuff on your plate, and none of it was asked for by you. So thanks for being brave and being here.
Well, thank you. And if I didn't know some people that are in here right now that that know I speak the truth and that could back me up speaking the truth, if I came in here and didn't know anybody, I wouldn't be here. Because you guys are scary. I've seen it in action, especially in the blood sport arena. It's like, I'm not even thinking about going in there. And I appreciate you treating me with respect and listening.
Miss Rose, what ground rules did you set with Earl before y'all did y'all's auditing?
There's a lot of them, but specifically, like going to do an audit, is that what you're saying about ground rules?
I mean, apparently you didn't feel comfortable with Earl that you set ground rules.
I would have set them with anybody. I mean, this is the first time I've ever done an audit with anybody, but in my head, and I'd already made up before he had contact with me, that if I did an audit with somebody, we were going to sit down and talk about it before we went out. I've seen too many auditors, that, called the police on themselves and the other person got in trouble, or, different things. And so I wanted to sit down and, so basically it was like, we agreed that I was going to ID, and I had no problem with that. If we had contact and it looked like he was going to get arrested. Otherwise than that, I wasn't going to give ID if I didn't have to, because we're in no ID state. But
I have to. I'm sorry. I have to sign off. I just want to say thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. I mean, that I don't know how other people work. How do you know what you don't know? How do I know what people talk about when they're going to go out and do an audit together until I meet my first auditor and sit down and talk to him and find out what's going to happen? But I had in my own head certain ground rules, like no illegal drugs. It's just common sense stuff, but if you don't talk about it, that's where misunderstandings happen.
Absolutely, and that was very smart.
Well, Rose, I have a question that nobody's asked, but I have seen thrown in the chat and asked several times. You don't have to, not this chat particularly, but different chats, mainly your live streams. And I just want you to clarify for everyone. Were you in any kind of relationship with News Now Houston?
How did I know that was going to come up? I was waiting for somebody to answer.
Everybody has asked.
Everybody's asking me. Okay, I appreciate the opportunity to set the record straight. Thank you very much. David came down here Thursday. When he came down here, he got himself a hotel room. When he got himself settled in, he called me. I went over there and met with him, and that's when we sat down and talked about what we're going to do and why we're going to do it and where we're going to go and have a game plan. So I left my vehicle there. We took his vehicle. We went and did those 5 audits Thursday. We came back. We had dinner. Went back to his hotel room. We made some adjustments because one of my phones wasn't going to the cloud, and and the quality, and just a technical, debriefing after you do stuff, with the agreement that, hey, we got a lot of great video. When this is all done, we're going to collaborate. I was there for probably an hour. I went home by myself. He stayed in his hotel room without me being there. The next morning, we agreed he was going to come over and pick me up, and we're going to go in his vehicle, and he was going to get the maps all set up because we talked about it the night before. And that's the extent of our relationship.
Thank you for clarifying. I haven't heard anyone ask that a question in here, but I know that it has been asked. So I figured I would just be the one to ask it. You know me, girl.
This is...
And that is your official statement, because we are recording this and most likely is going to be published. So that way you don't have to go through the same questions over and over and over.
Yep. And I appreciate, that's, this is the time to ask people, because this is the one and only time. I'm not going through this again.
You still have his van?
No, I don't.
Rose, I'm going to leave, but I want to thank you personally for exposing yourself to this. I don't think your conduct or the audit that day had anything to do with David's arrest. And I wish you the best of luck and happiness.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So what happened to Earl's van? Who got the van?
I choose not to answer that. Thank you.
Would you ever do another audit with any other auditors?
You're going to give me coughing. That took me by surprise. Well, I would hope that I would. Yes, because it's always safer to do it with someone else than by myself. And we did everything right, in my opinion. You can make the best laid plans and things happen. So it would have to be, like I said, kind of like what him and I did is, I'm not going to jump at the next warm body that shows up and says they want to do an audit. I want to sit down and talk to them, and then they can ask me questions too, but so that we're not putting each other in danger. This is serious stuff,
I mean, of course, you would want to do audits with somebody who is legit and serious about the activism.
Yeah, I don't want to do it with. I don't want to do it
with me. She'd work with me if I came and visited her.
Oh, yep, definitely. And I wouldn't want to do it with like an undercover officer or a border patrol agent or, any of the alphabet soups. But it doesn't mean that because of people knowing my name a little bit more down here, I have had contacts from a couple of people down here, but I'm going to be very safe about it. I'm going to meet them at a public location. We're going to sit down and talk. I'm going to ask them, if they've seen any of my videos, the typical, things you would do for safety.
So why didn't you do that with Earl? You said you went to his motel room. Went to a stranger's motel room.
Yep, I did.
Texrose, I just want to say, this is Michelle. I just want to say you handled yourself really respectfully. Thank you for answering all these questions. Bravo.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'd also like to thank everybody that's been in the voice chat and asking questions. The civility and the calmness that you've exhibited, I would like to thank you for.
Does anybody have questions that have gone unasked? Anything that's itching to get off your guys' chest? You guys have something to say to her?
I have a quick question.
Now is your time.
If Earl called you up tomorrow and asked you to go do an audit, would you go?
I don't know. Right now, like real for real tomorrow? Hell no, I can't breathe.
Okay, let's assume you felt better. Would you go?
I don't know.
What about Black Label? Would you do an audit with Black Label if I came down to Texas?
I don't know. Do you have a background check?
Yeah, I'd be freely open to tell you everything.
I was just kidding. Don't take me seriously.
Or better yet, would you do one with Patrick? He's now Patrick.
No, thank you very much.
Okay.
What's wrong with my son?
And
that's arena
you
talk,
know,
Rick.
I love everybody. I just don't like everybody. But I don't go out of my way to slam anybody. I just don't support them. And and I like it that way. I like it that everybody has a different way of doing things because I don't live in a vanilla world. I like different flavors. I like spice and things like that. And different people doing things different ways. The audience likes the different things and mixing it up. It'd be quite boring if we all did it this cookie cutter way. But do I have to be involved in some of those other more entertaining, let's say, audits? No, I would choose not to be part of an entertainment audit.
Hey, Donkey, I think we should probably end it here. This has been good.
Last call for questions if you guys got it. I don't want to have anybody feel like they were left out.
Thank you, Rose, again.
And thank you for treating me with respect and dignity. And if I snapped a couple of times, it's just, the whole thing is very emotional. I try to answer questions to the best of my ability. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to ask the questions and to listen and help me get, it out there. Whether it helps or hurts, I don't have any clue, but I'm prepared for whatever happens.
Please don't take offense to the arena room. Because you said something about that earlier, but that's just
yeah. No, I said the arena room because I've seen you guys in there in your prime, and it's just like, man, I'm glad I wasn't that person.
Sometimes you need a place to stay at all.
This room right here is the safe zone. The other one is
Yeah. And no, I'm not a snowflake, but and there's other things that if it didn't involve me, if this situation didn't involve me, I'd probably be just as passionate as you guys are, asking questions, wanting answers, wanting the facts, where are the videos and all this other stuff. So I get it. I've been a watcher. I was a watcher before, I started doing this. So I understand that. But, this is all new to me, and if I've messed up, I'll do it better next time. That's all I can do.
Thank you for being here. Keep up the good work, and I hope your health improves soon. Take care, Texrose.
Thank you. So, going once, going twice, going 3 times.